Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to News Today. I am Emefa Akosia Adeti. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kokoblemle, Accra. We're also live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125. Coming up this afternoon, concerns over protocol enlistment, political interference and the structure of the National Security Council have taken center stage at the Constitutional Review Committee hearings. The military, police, immigration service and other security agencies are pushing for urgent reforms.
They are well educated and they know the issues involved in coups, the disadvantages of coups. So nobody in the armed forces in his right frame of mind would think about a coup in this modern era.
Also, amid rise in public support for military involvement in governance flagged in the latest Afrobarometer report by the CDD, a Major General of the Ghana Armed Forces has reaffirmed the military's commitment to democratic principles, insisting it has no intention of interfering in politics. Also, tensions flare on the NPP's thank you tour as Firebrand Kennedy Japan clashes with the party's Bono regional communicator, raising questions about the party's ongoing reconciliation efforts.
Please, who born dog? Number 3 anyhow.
We have details, including a political scientist's view that the entire tour may be ill-advised.
I don't think it's necessary. There are more pressing issues that I would have thought that the party will spend more time to look at it in detail.
Plus, leading party figure Boachi Ejako warns that the tour is stirring internal strife rather than healing divisions. Also, once they dug deep into the earth, poisoning the rivers that once gave their communities life, all in pursuit of gold. In this bulletin, we tell you how former illegal miners now in university reflect on the destruction they have caused.
For the past years I've been entering into galamsey. A lot of my friends lost their life. Some of them turned into drug abuse, a lot of child trafficking, prostitution. Some of them even fell sick.
Join us, independent, fearless, credible. Please stay for details. We appreciate your company this afternoon. First, the country's leading security institutions, including the military, police, immigration service, and other allied agencies, have voiced serious concerns over political interference, bias enlistment protocols, and the structure of the National Security Council. These concerns were raised during a session of the ongoing Constitutional Review Committee hearings, where the agencies collectively called for urgent reforms. Let's start with a Major General of the Ghana Armed Forces, Dr. Emmanuel Kotia, who is unhappy with the composition of the National Security Council.
In the case of the appointment of the military command, they should go through parliamentary approval, not necessarily consultation with the Council of State. We have this example in Kenya, we have it in Nigeria, we have it in Sierra Leone, we have it in Liberia. They go through parliamentary approvals. So that is it. But in the Kenyan example is very interesting. I'll make a comparison between Kenya and probably India, and we see. The Kenyan example, the recommendation for a candidate for the chief of the defense forces, they call it chief of defense forces, is made by the defense council to the president. Now the president appoints subject to approval by parliament in the legislature. And then the legislature does a vetting and approve before the president then issues or swears the chief of defense staff. Now with service chiefs, the chief of defense forces recommend candidates for the chief of army staff, chief of naval staff, and chief of air staff to the president. Then there's a presidential appointment based on the recommendations of the chief of defense staff. They don't go through parliamentary vetting in that case. So that is the Kenya example I'm just comparing. For the US, The U.S. the President nominates Senate confirmation of all of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, equivalent to the and all the service chiefs, including even command chiefs like the African Commander of African Forces, African Command, and all the commanders in that regard are vetted by the Senate and approved. These are the differences. But I think invariably, the key thing we need to import here, which I agree with Professor Bafwa Mandria, is the parliamentary vetting and approval, which is very key.
But the Ghana Police Administration appears satisfied with the structure of the National Security Council. Here is Commissioner of Police in charge of Technical Services, Saibu Gariba.
I'm looking at the Ghana's composition as something that we need to look at it, considering some issues. I haven't been running the Constitution since 1993. Have we had any difficulty with the composition of the National Security Council? This is how I want us to look at it. So to look at it from the framework of the strategic, i.e. looking at the ministerial level, and the technical from CDS, IG, and others. Do we really have any problem having worked for them over 30-something years that warrant us to re-examine or change the Constitution, especially the composition? That is where I'm coming from. We may not be able to copy exactly what Kenya is doing or South Africa is doing, but the most important thing is how did we fare? How did that composition work in Ghana? So that is how I want us to look at it. And for me, if we cannot identify any challenges or complexities regarding the composition of the National Security Council in Ghana, I don't see why we should actually go work. Maybe some other countries later will come and then study and also re-examine, look at our settings or scenarios, and then they'll copy. I'm saying this practically. Practically, what I see is that there are certain things. We are talking about security. Something that is rapid response agency. You can quantify all of them in scenarios or terms. So at the time that you are making decision, you need swift decision making. So the president chairs it, have all the ministerials and the technical guys who even whilst in that meeting, there may be something fast that their men will send to them that the National Security Council may need to know. So if you take them out, the minister may not have that information quickly that is needed to actually solve a problem in the country.
COP Gariba, however, wants clear administrative lines drawn between the Interior Minister and the Inspector of Police to address political interference.
It covers everybody as far as my opinion is concerned. Why am I saying so? The Kenyans have made some distinctions between the political class and the technical men. For example, the ministerial level, or at that level, what the roles and responsibility of the minister, whether of it is Homeland Security or Interior or Defense, has been defined in their constitution. And then when it comes to responsibilities of the service commanders, i.e. IGP and CDS, and are also defined. So for me, when it comes to legal basis or the constitution, it's clear. If we can go on this tangent, then it sorts out so many problems. The issue of the minister will know that when it comes to the day-to-day administration and operations of the Ghana Police Service, that is not my responsibility. Of personnel, doing my enlistment, all those kind of things, that's not my duty.
Ghana Immigration Service is, however, unhappy despite a government white paper issued in 2012 after a similar constitutional review exercise for the service inclusion in the National Security Council step-up. But that has not been done. Lord Afari is a Deputy Controller of Immigration in charge of operations.
We are all listed as public services, but the police can appoint the IGP and the commissioners of police directly. But when they are appointing commissioners of immigration, etc., they are acted and that they must be referred to the police council. We think that these things must be looked at. But now to come to our issue. We come from the government white paper that was issued in 2012 after the CRC report. Then, one of the recommendations there was to make the Director of Immigration then a member of the National Security Council. And that was even in 2012. At that time, our population was about 3,000. And our scope of work was very limited. But then, the CRC then recommended that the Director of Immigration then should be made a member of the National Security Council. We are here in 2025. The field has changed completely, and immigration in national security has become more relevant in the country's national security.
Still on this, here is governance and democracy analyst Professor Bafo Ajibindia, who argued that the current process, dominated by presidential discretion and consultation with the Council of State, lacks adequate democratic oversight.
And I did take a look at the Chapter 17 of the Constitution, which focuses exclusively on the armed forces. And there was nothing really so significant as to warrant a serious discussion, with the exception of perhaps, I think section, I don't know the numbering here, the section relating to the appointment of the Chief of Defense Staff and the service chiefs, which is directly given, the power given to the president in consultation with the Council of State. If you look at other jurisdictions, democratic jurisdictions, we find that this appointment or these appointments normally go before their parliamentary vetting committees. In the US, they will appear before the Committee of the Congress on Defense, Intelligence, and others. We don't have that here. And I think as we are seeking to raise the bar on how we do these things here, I will strongly suggest that the Chief of Staff and the service chiefs, once nominated by the President through the Council of State, should also appear before the people of Ghana, represented by the relevant committee of parliament.
Now, staying a little longer here, and a growing number of Ghanaians have expressed their support for military intervention in the country's politics should elected leaders abuse their political mandate. Now, according to the 2024 Afrobarometer survey conducted by the Center for Democratic Development Ghana, 51% of respondents believed that the Ghana Armed Forces should assume control once the governance of the country deteriorates. But Major General Emmanuel Kotia, who also lectures at the Ghana Military Academy, says the army has no interest in politics.
One of the key things I say is that, look, coup is not something we should go back to. It will turn the country 10 times backwards. So, if you want to be a politician, you better drop your uniform and then go and join politics. That is the best way by which we can get ourselves involved. So, the armed forces, actually, the culture, the ethics, and what have you, has worked to the advantage of the country. The education has also worked. Because of that, people are well educated and they know the issues involved in coups, the disadvantages of coups. So, nobody in the armed forces, in his right frame of mind, would think about a coup in this modern era.
That the opposition New Patriotic Party's ongoing thank you tour has been marred by controversy following a heated exchange between 2024 flag bearer aspirant Kennedy Japan and Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye. Now, during the tour's Bono region stop, the two party figures openly clashed over internal party matters, trading harsh words and accusations in front of the supporters.
Arrogance and the dear Durbabi Aaron Yadri. Raging ha Mu say me 2 me 9 ko single constituency. Akwa kachiro obi say yanto abama candidate bi mu wuye. Mu amene mutena da mu kura di mu say me flow obi say to abama a particular candidate. Professor Makwe report. O say ye kwa abato a ensema ye ka no eno na na no andisi fo ye re use tie. Na mom wo ye propaganda no obi be yi ano dia. Entena social media say who didn't panatem now we are wabakasa memfa wadamfo.
Midday, I'm telling you the truth. Obia onye beman chobia. But party nti enipa bi tumi kasa te so omo member. Omo nye member. Eba contribution si yen sika omo tumi be omo kosesere. And they talk as if the whole world is for them. It's not for them. And yet ekuru ya. Like some of them cannot even speak the way they speak. Please, who born dog? Number to me a talk anyhow. Who born dog? Number to me a talk anyhow. Kukuru, kukuru, kukuru.
Well, surely, if you didn't understand anything, at least I'm certain you understood who born dog. Well, the tour itself has sparked debate since its commencement. Political scientist Dr. Kwame Asante has questioned the rationale behind the move, suggesting it serves no meaningful purpose. He spoke to Evans Mensah on PM Express.
I think it's necessary. There are more pressing issues that I would have thought that the party would spend more time to look at it in detail. For instance, we saw the bickering and the rancor that characterized the primaries, and it fed into the whole electoral process. You cannot discount this. So this, even though I've not seen their report, this is something that still lingers on within the political space that I thought that is an opportune time for them to look at it, deal with it, so that people who are aggrieved, who are disenchanted, you can get them back. The likes of Amakuba, the likes of Apuku and co, right? These are matters that we need to deal with it head on. So the thank you tour they could have saved that situation with a press release, and then you go into these specific ones that are really rearing their ugly heads into the whole political business within the party and creating all manner of problems. So for me, that's all.
Also on PM Express, former NPP flag bearer aspirant Dr. Arthur Kennedy argued the party should rather be touring the country to apologize for what he described as a poor governance record.
No, I actually think we need an apology talk rather than a thank you talk. We should be apologizing to the country for our bad governance. And then we should also have what I would call an accountability process, in which we hold to account the leaders of our government and government agencies whose misgovernance and arrogance and corruption caused our defeat. When we do that accountability as well as apology, it will give us more credibility with the public. And as you rightly pointed out, the primary that led to Dr. Bawumia's selection was characterized by a little bit of rancor. Somebody lost the eye. It was violence. Actually, I'm told that even during this apology tour, some slaps have been exchanged, which proves that there is a need for more behind-the-scenes reconciliation and other things before we take it public, and respectfully to Miracle support. What is happening is Dr. Bawumia is beginning to make his case ahead of his competitors. Everybody knows that. We know that was what Marco is doing. That's what Dr. Bawumia is.
Meanwhile, another flag bearer hopeful, Boache Ejaku, has issued a statement on the growing tensions within the party. My colleague James Aveji joins me on Zoom with the content of Mr. Ejaku's statement. Now, James, former energy minister says the party's thank you tour is causing internal challenges rather than fostering unity and healing. Really, and amid sustained what they have actually sustained over the period, especially a few months after the elections. Bring us an update on what the statement says. Well, my colleague James will join us a bit later, but on your screen now is the statement, and it reads: the ongoing thank you tour, envisioned as a beacon of hope and a rallying point to reignite the spirit of our faithful and supporters, is unfortunately veering off course. What was intended to restore our party's shine and reconnect us with the grassroots is instead unraveling into bouts of discord, blame shifting, and internal strife. It also continues to say that this regrettable turn of events threatens to inflict serious collateral damage on the very fabric of our party. More worryingly, it is steadily eroding the goodwill and trust we have worked so hard to cultivate among the Ghanaian people. It also goes on to say, in light of these unfortunate developments, I am earnestly calling on the leadership of our party to act swiftly and decisively. It is time to apply the brakes and reassess the direction of the thank you tour. We must pull back from what increasingly looks like an imminent collusion cause and chart a path that upholds the unity, dignity, and forward-looking spirit of our tradition. And finally, carefully recalibrate approach, one that fosters genuine reconciliation, solidarity, and purposeful engagement is urgently needed. Let's seize this moment to renew our collective resolve and ensure that the mission of the Thank You Tour is accomplished in a manner worthy of our party's proud legacy. This will be about the second or the third statement from him since the NPP actually lost the 2024 elections. But amid sustained internal criticisms directed at the party's 2024 presidential candidate, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, particularly for allegedly avoiding accountability for the party's electoral defeat, his spokesperson, Dennis Miracles Abuaji, has come to his defense. According to him, Dr. Bawumia has never attempted to distance himself from the NPP's governance record over the last 8 years.
On the 7th of February 2024, when the president was seated there, all the cabinet members were there, and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia spoke about all the things he would do differently should he become president, and all these things were in there. When he spoke about A-levy, and the fact that once he's president, he will cancel it. He said these things whilst he was a certain president. There is nothing the vice president has said on this tour that he didn't say whilst he was in office.
Arrogance of power.
Exactly, he said it. Yeah, he said it.
He said it when he was in power?
Yes.
Publicly?
Yes, because you see, Evans, these things, they are just part of the human nature. You're a big organization. You've appointed close to about 8,000 people. You should expect these things to happen across. What you will do is to continuously conscientize your people to understand that we are serving. And so we should calm down a little bit. But there is nothing he has said that he hasn't mentioned in the past.
But does he accept that he is as guilty as everybody else?
That is why you see and hear him. And I watched him on your news where he said, "Yaso yedin."
Away from the Yasuyade bit, well, legal expert Dr. David Fosu-Dote doubts the feasibility of a 24-hour policy amidst the country's power challenges. Speaking at the Joy News and Amalgam of Professional Bodies Speaker Series, the senior partner at AB and David's Africa argued that a country cannot industrialize with only 6,000 megawatts of power. Noella Kariyale reports.
A structural transformation and a complete reset of Ghana's economy has grown louder and more urgent in recent times, but amidst these calls is the critical question: where do we begin from and how? The Joy News, an amalgam of professional body speaker series, explored these questions in the latest episode under the theme Transforming Ghana's Economy, Time for a Mindset Revolution. Legal expert Dr. David Fosu-Dote, in his presentation, challenged government to fix the country's power challenges if they are serious about implementing a 24-hour economy.
Under this government, there are three key things that I have heard. One is reset, the reset agenda. The other one is the 24-hour economy. And the third one is the big push. And I have tried to look at how transformation can be driven by each of these. And I want to focus on the mindset component of this. And my recommendation to them is that I will expect under the big push that an organization like VRA should be looking at 20 megawatts of power or 20 gigawatts. Where does that come from? There are studies which shows that for this country to industrialize, we need a base load of 20,000 megawatts. One of the statements which incensed me a lot, and this is not the first time I'm talking about it in public, was a statement that was constantly made by some politicians in the past, that we have excess power. 6,000 megawatts of installed capacity cannot be excess power. Your inability to distribute the power does not make it excess power. A country cannot industrialize with 6,000 megawatts of power, period. What is the next big agenda on the Akosombo Dam? And what is the next big agenda for VRA? And what is the next big agenda of the whole of the Akosombo itself, which has got several angles that can be used, from transportation to a growth corridor, to fluvial advantage, to hauling of mines, mining including iron ore, to jetties, to a number of things, including even shipyards on the lake. You cannot deliver a 24-hour economy without power.
Dr. Ofosudote says Ghana needs supply-oriented policies to encourage local producers, as he laments the continuous importation of foreign goods, which could be locally produced, offers an avenue for corruption. Here's why.
We tend to prefer foreign goods. So even the things we produce, we like to import them. It actually takes me back to the campaign which was conducted in the Champon regime, where there was a conscious effort to encourage consumption of made in Ghana goods, especially made in Ghana, food produced in Ghana. Today, I know many Ghanaians who, if they are traveling, would like to take a tin of Milo from Ghana, or want to take pig milk as against other milk, because those days we were consciously encouraged to consume these which were then made in Ghana. And that's how come they became the goods that we prefer as against others. Some of those conscious efforts we need to do and move away from the mindset which enables us import yemwadie. I don't know whether there's an English equivalent of what yemwadie is. At the last time there was a discussion on inflation I was following, grapes had contributed a significant part of our imports. Foreign rice. Now, there are times that for the public sector, even when the thing is being produced here, importation is a procurement opportunity. And that procurement opportunity provides corruption for them to get some amount of money. And as a result, they will nevertheless import, notwithstanding the fact that we could have saved the foreign exchange. So when we turn around to complain about the dollar to CD exchange rate, we forget that the mindset that is contributing to it is a mindset that requires us to be corrupt by procuring from outside and by consuming things we otherwise produce here.
Professor Godfred Bokping is an economist at the University of Ghana Business School.
Look, if you take Ghana since 1992 and you pick budget after budget and you see budgetary allocation to roads, it's huge on paper. But out there, it's not there. Come to think of it, just a couple of years ago when we heard in this country that a government had constructed more roads than any other government and all of that. But you go and check. If you look at the IMF's road quality index, which they measure through mean speed score, intercities, Ghana is not in the top 10. Ghana is not in the top 20. We are not in the top 30. In fact, we rank somewhere 36. Our mean speed score is just around 56 kilometers per hour, adjusted. Okay, so approximately 45% of economic activity is movement. It's movement of goods, services, persons, and the rest of them. So the basis for economic transformation, we don't have it. Because in this country, we have not been able to connect our cities. You just can't say, I'm going to Cape Coast and come back. That's going to take you hours.
Oh, yes. Now even with the road construction, it will take you forever.
Yes. Okay, it's going to, so we don't have the basis. Look, Europe, US, look at China and where they are investing, the efficiency. So we are not connecting the cities. So why are you talking about transformation? Look, you have to live in Accra to work in Accra. Why? I mean, it should be possible for somebody to live in Kumasi and come to work in Accra and go back, either by rail or even by road.
As Ghana searches for pathways to reset its economy, experts insist that beyond policies and promises, a shift in mindset and bold actions are critical. The call is clear. Transformation must start now, and it must start with us. Noella Kariniali for Joy News.
Now, away from that, they once dug deep into the earth, poisoning the rivers that once gave their communities life, all in pursuit of gold. Now, years later and miles away from the muddy pits of illegal mining, they sit in university lecture halls, carrying the weight of their past. Once teenage galamseyers, now students, they speak not with pride, but with pain. In this special Joy News report, 2 young men aged 24 and 27 share their haunting journey from the dangerous death of illegal mining in the promise of education. They recount the mysterious death of their close friends, the trauma they still carry, and their renewal mission to help restore what they once helped destroy. They say they are not alone. Across campuses, others like them are quietly determined to make amends. Here is Joy News' Mahmoud Nuruddin with the galamseyers' regret.
Decided to go into galamsey?
Thank you for the question. I think I'm not into galamsey because I like working. On the 14th of October 2016, I lost both my parents. They were catering of my education. So when I lost them, I have nobody to take care of me. So I need to link myself to galamsey so that I can able to continue with my education. I think that is the reason why I'm entering into galamsey activities.
Are you aware that galamsey is destroying our water bodies and our water land?
Yes, please. I'm aware that galamsey activities is destroying our water bodies, our lands.
They dug for gold in silence, but now their voices are breaking the silence with regret. For years, these young men survived through illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. It paid their school fees, put food on the table, and gave them a future. But it came at a cost to Ghana's rivers and forests. 24-year-old Yao Atta, not his real name, is now a university student, but he says the money that paid for his education was soaked in mud and mystery. Several of his friends died under strange and unexplainable circumstances while working at illegal mining sites.
Do you have members who have died through this galamsey, and some of them who are in critical condition, maybe sick in the hospital or in the houses?
Yes, for the past years I've been entering into galamsey. A lot of my friends lost their life. Some of them turned into drug abuse, a lot of child trafficking, prostitution. Some of them even fell sick and they cannot work again. They have to send them to their various houses.
Now studying Bachelor of Education in Early Childhood, Yao is not just turning away from galamsey, he's hoping to lead the campaign against it.
So do you regret going into galamsey and the fact that these activities destroy our forests, our water body, and even our land?
Yeah, I'm deeply regretful for that. Because when I sit down to realize what we have been doing at the galamsey sectors, for the next 10 years to come, our children, our beloved brothers and sisters, how to even get water to drink will be a problem. And to get a very good land to farm is also one of the big problems that we have faced for the past years to come. I think if I'm able to get support from NGOs to support with my education, I think I'll be very happy to hear that. And also, I think if I also be a member to be campaigning against galamsey activities, I will be very glad about it.
He says his education has opened his eyes to what he calls a crime against nature.
So if they give you the opportunity to say a word to communities where you've mined, communities where you did the illegal mining, and now they don't have good water to drink, their forest is being destroyed, what would you tell them?
I'll first let them know that I'm coming there for them to forgive me of what I have done for the past years. I will tell them that I have been there for several times for years, and I know the importance of water and the importance of our lands and the vegetation that we have. I think I'll educate them on how we are going to protect our lands, our water bodies.
Yao is not alone. Other students who are into galamsey are now holding their books and dreams.
You're watching News Today, and Pius Kojo Baka is on standby to bring you business. Please stay.
Hello and welcome to the business segment on Joy News Today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. The Ghana's strong cedi's performance against the US dollar shows no signs of slowing down, having recently reached a new milestone, trading at 14 cedis 35 pesos on the interbank market. Here's more.
The local currency had traded in the 15 Ghana cedis range for more than a month when it comes to the rates that the commercial banks were offering to their clients for transactions. However, since last week, there has been some sustained good run against the dollar. Some market analysts are linking it to investors responding to Ghana reaching a staff-level agreement with the IMF after the fourth review and the announcement that the Bank of Ghana's international reserves of more than $9 billion is even more than what Ghana should have at the end of the IMF program in May 2026. All these developments are seen as some major factors that is driving the city's good run. We should also not forget about the fact that the dollar has been losing some grounds on the international market. The Bank of Ghana, on the other hand, has also been heavy on the market in terms of dollar support. Fresh data from the commercial banks showed that the central bank has been very active on the market this week. Some bank treasurers have told Joy Business that they expect the city's good run against the dollar to be sustained in the coming weeks.
Chief Executive of PIVA Beverages, Frank Ejie-Mensah, has urged Ghanaians to patronize made-in-Ghana goods to boost job creation as a means of easing pressure on the city. At a health walk, he highlighted that products like PIVA Beverages offer both quality and value while improving the country's economy.
Organized by PIVA Beverages, saw participants walk from Ayi-Mensah to Peduase, where they had an aerobic session aimed at promoting health and wellness. The chief executive of PIVA Beverages, Mr. Frank Ejie-Mensah, used the occasion to call on Ghanaians to patronize made-in-Ghana goods to boost employment as a means of easing pressure on the city. He highlighted the benefits PIVA Beverages offer.
PIVA Beverages has come, and that has come to stay. PIVA Natural Mineral Water, we have the PIVA Beverages, the cola, you have the orange, you have the cocktail, you have the tangy, and you have the grape. That I want to tell people all over the world that PIVA is a very good product, very low in sugar, that you can give it to your kids, you can drink yourself. And know that once you buy PIVA, this is a made in Ghana, purely made in Ghana product, owned by Ghanaians, 100% owned by Ghanaians. That let's patronize our own, because that's the only way we can help create jobs so that I can put less pressure on the city.
Also speaking at the event, the branch manager for PIVA Beverages, Courage Kodo, stressed the importance of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. He assured Ghanaians of the company's long-term commitment to quality and service.
Embarking on this work, we are just trying to bridge the fact that good health matters, and good health is something that we should all take very seriously. Because if you have good health, you have good life. If you have good health, your life is actually motivated. The second most important is to let the whole Ghana understand that Piva Beverages has come to stay, Piva Beverages will stay, and Piva Beverages will be there to serve you.
The walk attracted a lively crowd of participants, reflecting the growing public interest in health-conscious activities and support for local brands. Helen Nakai Aye's report, read to you.
That's it for business for now. I am Pius Kojo Bakadara will be at 1 p.m. with the marketplace. Sports is next.
Time for sports on JN today. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kreku, has stepped down from his role as President of the West African Football Union Zone B. Now, Ket's resignation comes on the heels of his recent elevation to the position of second Vice President of the Confederation of African Football. Joy Sports sources revealed that the 54-year-old wants to focus on his new role as CAF Vice President, believing that other people within the zone are capable of leading the bloc. Now, during his tenure at WAFU Zone B, Ket spearheaded several initiatives, including the creation of junior competitions. Now, tonight, Arsenal face a challenging task of welcoming PSG to the Emirates Stadium for the first leg of the Champions League semi-finals. The Gunners have ambitions of reaching the final for the first time since 2006. The team is buoyed by their victory over 15-time winners Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. We can now hear from their head coach, Mikel Arteta.
And you sense the energy, the enthusiasm. That is something unique. Probably one of the biggest games that the Emirates have seen since we built it. And yeah, full of energy, enthusiasm, and can't wait to play the game tomorrow.
It's incredible to think that Arsenal never won this trophy, bearing in mind the success that they've had. So what would that mean to you? And also, bearing in mind the season that you've had, just what would it mean to win the European Cup?
Yeah, especially with the circumstances that we had this season and how we have overcome a lot of issues and challenges and the fact that the team is here. As one of the 4 best teams in Europe. It tells about the mindset, the spirit, and how much we really want it. So, yeah, we are making history. It's a beautiful story right now, but we want much more.
Simple?
Tomorrow more, I told them, and I'm not exaggerating when I said, guys, bring your boots, bring your shorts, bring your T-shirts, and let's play every ball together. You know, you want to do something special, that place has to be something special, something that we haven't seen, and I really hope that everybody that comes tomorrow to the Emirates and everybody's watching and following us, it brings that energy with them.
Dave Guardian? Do you feel the weight of history? Arsenal obviously never won this tournament, and it's only the 3rd semi-final. Is that sort of a big part of this?
You feel it, especially because we have fortunately, a lot of people that has worked at the club for many, many, many years, and they've never been in this position, you know, so that tells you how unique and beautiful it is. And yeah, it's the nicest competition for any European club. We never done it, so we need to earn the right to be in that final, and everything is going to start tomorrow.
Does it help in any way that you've knocked out English clubs in the previous 2 rounds, even if it's just mentally?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a question for Mr. Arteta. But I think in terms of confidence, it's very positive for us because we could won the match against Liverpool, and Liverpool won the Premier League this year. But doesn't mean anything because every single match is different. I have to say that everybody speaks about the Premier League like the best league in the world. I don't know if I have to agree or not, but if I agree or not. But we are full of confidence. I'm looking forward to playing the semi-final.
And that's your sports on JN Today. My name is Haruna Mubarak.
Hello there, good afternoon. You're welcome to the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabua. To our first story for today, as the lines between traditional and digital music promotion continue to merge, rising artist Jubed is putting his faith in TikTok, calling it the best platform for breaking new music and reaching wider audiences. With his latest single, Rua, gaining momentum online, Jubed believes the future of music promotion lies firmly in the hands of digital platforms like TikTok.
Promoting music in today's industry goes beyond just releasing a good song. It takes strategic work and choosing the right platforms. Whether it's traditional media like radio and TV or digital spaces like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram or TikTok, Kenyan musicians are finding new ways to get their music heard. In recent months, there's been heated debate over whether social media, especially TikTok, is overshadowing traditional methods of music promotion. While some industry players remain skeptical, rising musician Jubed believes TikTok is the best place to promote new music.
TikTok is the best, because TikTok is the one that put me on the spot. It's the best platform. I would encourage every artist to actually go into TikTok because it's the best platform you could ever use. Because the more people use your song, the more it registers in the streams. Because people would want to know, oh, where is this, where is that? So it actually helps you. It's the best platform. Apart from the rest, I think TikTok is my favorite is TikTok. It's TikTok that blew me up.
With the 2025 TGMAs just a few weeks away, another hot topic is who deserves the prestigious Artist of the Year award. Jubed is rooting for King Promise to take home the ultimate prize.
Yeah, so everybody deserves it, but I just feel like King Promise is my don. I'm saying it because he's my don. Like he's an inspiration towards me. Coming up, he also gave me head start, made sure that I was good. So I'll say King Promise is there.
Known for his soulful voice, Jubed recently released Rua, a track that has been trending on TikTok since its launch. He promises even more exciting music for his growing fan base.
Make I display all the money for your dog. Yeah, Monica, make I know the money tie you for your dog.
All away from TikTok, Season 4 of Joy Prime's Kiddie Culinary Extravaganza, Big Chef Jr. was officially launched last Sunday. Following weeks of anticipation and announcement of the final 12 contestants, the launch event marked their official introduction to the audience. The judges for the new season were also revealed, adding to the excitement as the competition kicks off. Joy Prime's Lois Adeyemi has more in the following report.
Joy Prime, after weeks of teasing the unveiling of the 12 selected contestants for Season 4, finally held an official launch last Sunday. All in attendance were excited as they prepared to see the contestants for the first time. The host, Michelle Ajekum, reviewed the judges for the season as they are a very vital part of the competition. The judges share the excitement as well as the expectations from the new wannabe kiddie chefs for the season.
Expectation for them is basically they have to explore. They have to explore, experimental, and then bring out what they have in them.
Of course, it's going to be an exciting journey. There's going to be some mistakes here and there. I'm expecting some burns, some spills. But it's going to be exciting.
Keynote speakers at the event, Michael Kwenu, president of the Ghana Chefs Association of Ghana, and Nanama Mensah, deputy director, diversity and inclusive education, Ghana TV Service, congratulated the contestants on their selection and encouraged them to research more recipes and practice at all times. Sponsors also shared their joy participating in the season and wished the contestants the best. Audience and parents were also advised to support and vote for their favorites by dialing *711*60# to keep them in the competition.
On that note, is a wrap for the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabua. Over to you, MFA Akosiadeti. Before we wrap the bulletin, Ghanaian authors are raising their voices for urgent reforms in the country's publishing industry, calling for structures that make writing not just a passion, but a profitable venture. Renowned author Nana Echampong, speaking at the launch of his
3 new books, A Test of the Serpent's Kiss, The Mystery of the Treasure Keeper, and The One Stone, One Bride, and a Zombie. He described the current state of the book value chain as terrible, citing long-standing inefficiencies that continue to stifle local literary growth.
You're the one person who has to now create your concepts, write, sometimes edit yourself, look for a printer, print yourself, now market it, go around, look for readers to buy, and then talk to them for the reading circuit. It's daunting sometimes, and it turns a lot of people off, but hopefully, slowly, with persons like writers and things, like we have pager and all those happening, so slowly, there's a value chain working, but at the moment it's terrible.
But even in the face of industry challenges, Nana Echampong had words of hope for emerging writers. He urged the next generation of authors to cultivate strong reading and writing habits, emphasizing that consistency and craft are key to thriving in the literature space or literary space.
Oh, just read, write, read, write, read, write, 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 read. That's all you have to do. Read and write, read and write, read, write, write, write. Thank you.
That'll be all for the news today. I am MFA Akosiadeti. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Always a pleasure coming your way.